We crave connection. It's an intrinsic part of our human nature, a fundamental need that drives us to seek out others. From the moment we are born, we reach out, yearning for the warmth of another's touch, the comfort of a shared smile, the reassurance of knowing we are not alone in this vast, often overwhelming world. We seek solace in shared laughter, comfort in whispered secrets. These moments of intimacy, these small acts of trust, they bind us together, creating a tapestry of relationships that we rely on to navigate the complexities of life. It's in these moments that we find our greatest joys and our deepest comforts. But what happens when the ones we hold close harbor darkness we cannot comprehend? When the very people we trust with our innermost thoughts and feelings turn out to be hiding sinister secrets? The realization that someone we love and trust is not who they seem can be a shattering experience, one that leaves us questioning everything we thought we knew. This is a glimpse into the terrifying reality of secrets hidden in plain sight, where the familiar becomes the unfamiliar, and the safe becomes the dangerous. It's a world where the light of truth is often obscured by the shadows of deception, and where the line between friend and foe becomes increasingly blurred. In this world, trust becomes a weapon, and the people we love become strangers. The bonds that once brought us comfort now bring us pain, and the laughter that once filled our hearts now echoes with a hollow, haunting sound. It's a reality that many of us are unprepared to face, yet one that we must confront if we are to uncover the truth. These are stories of 3 individuals who dared to uncover the truth about their closest friends, who ventured into the darkness in search of answers, only to find themselves ensnared in a web of horror they never could have imagined. Their journeys are a testament to the courage it takes to face the unknown and the strength required to confront the darkness within those we hold dear, only to find themselves trapped in a web of horror they never could have imagined. Their experiences serve as a chilling reminder that sometimes the scariest monsters are the ones we invite into our lives, the ones we trust with our deepest fears and darkest secrets. It's a sobering thought, one that forces us to reevaluate the nature of trust and the true cost of betrayal. Their experiences serve as a chilling reminder that sometimes the scariest monsters are the ones we invite into our lives, the ones we trust with our deepest fears and darkest secrets. It's a sobering thought, one that forces us to reevaluate the nature of trust and the true cost of betrayal. As we delve deeper into their stories, we are confronted with the unsettling reality that the people we think we know best can sometimes be the ones who hide the darkest secrets, the ones we trust with our deepest fears and darkest secrets. These stories are not just tales of horror, but also of resilience and the human spirit's capacity to endure even the most harrowing of circumstances. They remind us that while darkness may lurk in the hearts of those we love, there is also a light within us that can never be extinguished. Prepare yourself, for what you are about to read will send shivers down your spine and make you question the very nature of trust and friendship. These stories will take you on a journey through the darkest corners of the human psyche, revealing the hidden fears and unspoken truths that lie beneath the surface of our most cherished relationships, and make you question the very nature of trust and friendship. For in the shadows of our closest bonds, terror awaits. But remember, even in the darkest of times, there is always hope. The courage to face the truth, the strength to confront our fears, and the resilience to overcome even the most daunting challenges are what define us as human beings. For in the shadows of our closest bonds, terror awaits. But it is also in these shadows that we find our true strength, our capacity for compassion, and our ability to heal. As we navigate the complexities of trust and betrayal, let us remember that we are not alone. Together, we can face the darkness and emerge stronger, wiser, and more resilient than ever before. Emma and Ava were inseparable, best friends since childhood. They shared everything. But recently, something had changed. Ava was withdrawn, her eyes constantly darting around as if something unseen pursued her. "Ava, what's wrong?" Emma asked one evening, concern etched on her face. Ava hesitated, then whispered, "There's something following me." A shadow. Emma dismissed it as nightmares. But Ava's terror was palpable. One night, Emma followed Ava. She watched in horror as Ava disappeared into an abandoned building, the same building whispered about in local legends. Fear gnawed at Emma, but she couldn't abandon Ava. Inside the building, the air grew heavy, the silence broken only by the sound of her own heartbeat. A cold wind seemed to whisper her name, urging her forward. Then she saw it. Ben had always admired Daniel. From the moment they met in high school, Ben was drawn to Daniel's charisma and confidence. Daniel seemed to glide through life with an ease that Ben could only dream of. He was the kind of person who could walk into a room and instantly become the center of attention, effortlessly charming everyone around him. Daniel was everything Ben wasn't: confident, athletic, popular. While Ben struggled with self-doubt and shyness, Daniel excelled in sports and academics, making friends wherever he went. It was no surprise that Ben looked up to him, almost idolizing him. They bonded over their shared love of basketball, a sport that allowed them to connect on a deeper level. On the court, their differences seemed to melt away, replaced by a mutual respect and camaraderie. Spending countless hours on the court, they developed a strong friendship. The game became their sanctuary, a place where they could escape the pressures of life and just be themselves. Ben felt lucky to be Daniel's friend. He cherished their time together, feeling a sense of belonging that he had never experienced before. Daniel's friendship was a gift, one that Ben held close to his heart. But then came the whispers. It started with hushed conversations in the hallways, snippets of gossip that Ben couldn't quite catch. People spoke of strange occurrences, eerie happenings that seemed to follow Daniel's family. Strange, unsettling stories about Daniel's family, the Blackwoods. Tales of misfortune and tragedy that seemed too bizarre to be true. Yet, the more Ben heard, the harder it became to ignore. A family cursed, people said, destined for tragedy. The Blackwoods were whispered to be haunted by a dark past, a legacy of sorrow that clung to them like a shadow. Ben brushed them off as superstitious nonsense. He didn't believe in curses or ghosts. To him, the stories were just that. Stories. Exaggerated tales meant to entertain or frighten. Until the night he saw it himself. That night, everything changed. Ben had gone to Daniel's house, a sprawling Victorian manor on the edge of town. The house itself was imposing, with its tall, narrow windows and intricate woodwork, but Ben had never felt uneasy there before. He'd gone to Daniel's house, a sprawling Victorian manor on the edge of town. The house, with its towering spires and ornate architecture, stood like a sentinel against the night sky, its presence both majestic and foreboding. Looking up at the windows, he saw a fleeting glimpse of something monstrous, something not quite human. The image haunted him. It was as if the shadows themselves had come to life, forming a grotesque figure that stared back at him with glowing eyes. He confronted Daniel, demanding answers. His heart pounded in his chest as he recounted what he had seen, his voice shaking with a mixture of fear and anger. Daniel's usual composure cracked, his face pale and drawn. He looked like a man carrying the weight of the world on his shoulders, his eyes filled with a sorrow that Ben had never seen before. "You shouldn't have come here," he whispered, his voice trembling. The fear in his voice was palpable, sending chills down Ben's spine. "Now it knows you're involved." The words hung in the air, heavy with dread. Ben realized that he had stumbled into something far more sinister than he could have ever imagined. The curse of the Blackwood family was real, and now it had its sights set on him. Claire had always found Kyle intriguing. From the moment she first saw him, there was something about his demeanor that captivated her. He was different from anyone she had ever met, and that difference was both fascinating and mysterious. He was an enigma, a quiet observer in their group of friends. While others chatted and laughed, Kyle often stood apart, watching, listening, absorbing everything around him. His silence was not one of shyness, but seemed to be a deliberate choice, as if he was guarding a secret. His silence drew her in, sparking a curiosity she couldn't ignore. Claire found herself constantly wondering what thoughts lay behind his intense gaze. She would catch herself staring at him, trying to decipher the emotions that flickered across his face. She found herself wanting to know more, to unravel the mystery that seemed to shroud him. She began to notice the little things about him, the way he would disappear for hours, the old, worn book he always carried, the distant look in his eyes when he thought no one was watching. Then, one rainy afternoon, Claire saw Kyle entering an old, dilapidated theater. The sight of him slipping into the shadows of the decrepit building sent a shiver down her spine. She had heard stories about that place, tales of ghosts and tragic events that had taken place there. The same theater rumored to be haunted, its stage forever occupied by the ghost of an actress who died tragically during a performance. The locals spoke of eerie lights and unexplained sounds that emanated from the building at night. Claire had always dismissed these stories as mere folklore, but seeing Kyle there made her reconsider. Driven by an insatiable curiosity, Claire followed. She hesitated for a moment at the entrance, the weight of the building's history pressing down on her. But her need to understand Kyle, to uncover the truth about him, pushed her forward. Inside, the air was thick with dust and the scent of decay. Every step she took echoed through the empty halls, amplifying the eerie silence that surrounded her. The once grand theater was now a shadow of its former self, with cobwebs hanging from the ceiling and old broken furniture scattered about. As she ascended the creaking stairs towards the stage, she heard a voice, soft and lilting, humming a haunting melody. The sound was both beautiful and unsettling, sending chills down her spine. She recognized the voice. It was Kyle's, but there was something different about it. It was Kyle, but his voice was different, older, filled with a chilling sadness. As she reached the top of the stairs, she saw him standing on the stage, bathed in an eerie light. His face was a mask of sorrow, and his eyes seemed to look right through her, as if he was seeing something or someone far beyond the present moment. Section 5. Unmasking the monsters within. Panic surged through Emma. The figure before her was tall and skeletal, its edges blurring into the shadows that clung to it. Its eyes, two glowing embers, fixed on her. It moved with an unnatural fluidity, gliding towards her. Then, just as suddenly as it appeared, it vanished. Emma ran, her heart pounding in her chest. She searched frantically for Ava, but her friend was gone. The abandoned building stood silent, holding its secrets close. Section 6. The chilling reality of secrets. Ben's blood ran cold. Daniel's words confirmed his worst fears. The Blackwood curse was real, and now he was somehow entangled in it. He stumbled back from Daniel, fear twisting his features. "What have you gotten me into, Daniel?" he choked out, his voice barely a whisper. Daniel looked at him, eyes filled with a mixture of fear and resignation. "Run, Ben," he whispered, his voice hoarse. "Run and never look back." Section 7. When trust becomes a weapon. As Kyle turned, Claire gasped. His face, normally youthful and carefree, was now contorted in a grotesque mask of rage. His eyes burned with an unholy light, and his voice, when he spoke, was a guttural growl. "You shouldn't have followed me, Claire," he hissed, his words dripping with venom. "Now you have to pay the price." Terror gripped Claire's heart. This wasn't Kyle. This was something else, something sinister wearing his skin. Section 8. The unseen terrors around us. Emma, Ben, and Claire. 3 individuals thrust into terrifying situations, their lives irrevocably changed by the dark secrets of their closest friends. Their stories serve as a chilling reminder that things are not always as they seem, and the people we trust most can harbor unimaginable darkness. The monsters that lurk in the shadows are not always figments of our imagination. Sometimes they are closer than we think, hidden in plain sight, masked by familiarity and trust. They are the friends who betray us, the loved ones who deceive us, the shadows that follow us home. Section 9. A final warning. Be careful who you trust. Be wary of the secrets whispered in the dark. For the truth, when it finally comes to light, can be more terrifying than any nightmare. And sometimes, the scariest monsters are the ones we call friends. The next time you feel a chill run down your spine, or hear a whisper of your name in the dead of night, remember these stories. Remember that you are not alone in your fear. For in the shadows, something watches, something waits, and it might just be closer than you think.